The leader of the Operation Dudula movement is expected to appear in the Roodepoort Magistrates Court tomorrow after spending the weekend behind bars. And Nhlanhla Dlamini was arrested on Thursday after a criminal case was opened against him. Let's bring in SABC News reporter Nhlanhla, she's live for us in Johannesburg, for more on this story. Nhlanhla, very good morning to you. So talk to us about what we can expect tomorrow.
Good morning, Blaine. Yes, indeed, we do expect Nhlanhla Dlamini to appear before a magistrate to apply for bail, but it's unclear as to whether it will happen or not. We understand that he was arrested on Thursday night and was expected to appear before a magistrate on Friday morning to apply for bail. But we understand from conversations we had from the lawyer representing him, Advocate Ike Khumalo, they said they were misled into believing that he would appear and were rather disappointed by the fact that he didn't appear. They then went on a last-minute attempt to try and negotiate with the police yesterday, where they were in conversation with the police trying to see if they cannot get him off on a warning when those efforts proved futile, because they later then announced to the members who were and supporters who were protesting and picketing outside the police station where he's being kept that he will not be released yesterday, and it's unclear if they will try again to get him released today. But what we also heard coming out from that briefing is that they are concerned about their leader's safety while he's inside or being kept in police custody, saying that they've heard word and they've gotten word that a number of people have been arrested over the weekend, and particularly those who are involved in substance abuse and so on, saying that, which then means that this could mean that Nhlanhla will not be able to be kept in a single cell and will have to be kept in a holding cell with other members of the public. They were then saying that should anything happen to their leader, the police should be held and must be held accountable for that, because they have asked to keep him in the interest of his safety in a single cell and not be with other people who are being held this weekend. Now, you also understand that, they've also accused or are suspecting that there might be some political interference with regards to the manner in which their leader was arrested and the reason why he's been kept over the weekend. You'll understand that they cried foul on Friday, bemoaning the manner in which he was arrested, saying that he was ambushed. He could have been given an opportunity like any other high-profile official who has appeared before a prison, where they've walked in and been accompanied by the lawyer and presented themselves to a police station nearby. They've actually attributed this to a ploy to try and derail a plan to expand into KwaZulu-Natal. You'll understand that today was supposed to be the day where they launch Operation Dudula in KwaZulu-Natal and Durban particularly, but it seems as though those plans have been put on hold, and there are plans to intensify the pickets and the protests outside of this police station, where they are going to be calling for the release of their leader Nhlanhla Dlamini. We understand that there are other organizations or other groupings that will also be forming part of Operation Dudula today and pledging their support. We've seen political parties such as the Patriotic Alliance also coming here, pledging their support to Nhlanhla and calling for the removal, and also reiterating some of the sentiments that have been shared by the Operation Dudula leaders, as well as the lawyers representing Nhlanhla Dlamini, that they suspect that there might be some political interference. In an interview with his attorney on Friday, he said that they had been trying to communicate with some court officials to try and get a bail application or bail hearing on an urgent basis, but those efforts also seemed rather futile. We understand that initially when he was arrested, the police did confirm that a person of interest was brought in for questioning and could not divulge the identity of that particular person. We then later found out and established that the person who had been arrested was indeed Nhlanhla Dlamini. It took more than 12 hours, almost more than 12 hours really, for him to be charged. He spent most of Friday behind bars without being charged, and part of the reason why he couldn't appear before a magistrate's court on a Friday because he had not been charged. He was then later charged just after 5 p.m. On Friday, and then that's when we established and learned that he had been charged and he's been kept on charges of housebreaking and theft and malicious damage to property. His lawyers on Friday also alerting us that there are conversations that there might be more charges added on to the charges that he's already facing, one of them being a charge of intimidation, also saying that they don't believe that these charges can and will hold water in a court of law. We're outside here just monitoring the situation. We understand that Operation Dudula members and all the other organizations that are in support of the movement are going to start arriving, and they're going to start picketing, as we have seen throughout the weekend. It is just minutes away from that call time that people were given. So at 11 we should start seeing more people come around, but it seems as though the police are also trying to ramp up their protection around, or police visibility rather, around the police station. I'm just going to ask my camera colleague Nhlanhla to just show you the van that are stationed out here and the police cars. So this police car that you're going to see is one of those public order policing vans that was not here yesterday, but it seems to have been moved closer to the entrance. Yesterday, when police spoke to us just before, prior to that announcement that Nhlanhla Dlamini would be spending the weekend behind bars, they told us that they are going to try and protect the doors, and that we should decide which side we would like to go to, if we'd like to be outside or inside, because they are preparing to close down and they're preparing for a standoff. But the standoff did not take place, and I think this time around they are also just trying to protect the police station in preparation for anything that could happen. You will also understand that there was a message that was relayed from the Operation Dudula leader calling on members to exercise high discipline and high morals, and which is one of the slogans that they've actually chanted on many occasions. I remember when they were marching to the offices of the Human Rights Council to hand over a memorandum of demands, calling for the Human Rights Council to also prioritize the human rights of locals, saying that they are concerned that it seems as though they only fight for the human rights of those who are migrants in the country, and really do fight for the rights of those who are South African. But this was in relation to issues of electricity cuts and so on. And you'll remember in December that parts of Diepkloof were without electricity for reasons because Eskom had disconnected them, because they were concerned about them buying from ghost vendors, and also but residents on the ground were saying that the reason that they'd been disconnected is because a contractor had not done what it was supposed to do, which led Eskom to believe that they had then tampered with those meters.
I just want to touch on, before I let you go, the identity parade and the person that has laid these charges against Mr. Dlamini. Has that taken place?
We are not sure if that has taken place yet. We will obviously speak to the lawyers and get more information regarding that. But it is unclear if that identity parade has taken place just yet.
regards to...
You know, at this stage, it's very difficult to...
Yeah.
We have reached out to the police. We have reached out to the police and in an attempt to obviously get word from them as to what is happening. Unfortunately, they have not come back to us. We have tried on many attempts, made many attempts to get those comments and to get more information from them.
Right.
But it seems as though our efforts have not really yielded results.
You know, you've been working this story quite closely with regards to yesterday's events, the Kopanang Africa movement, as well as the Dudula movement yesterday, coming together almost, but police, as you said, created that barrier. I want to just get your sense of the understanding from people on the ground in terms of the mission of Operation Dudula. You mentioned, we earlier on, Vusi Kumala spoke to a member in KwaZulu-Natal, and they said they respect the laws of this country. That's why they're not proceeding with their launch in KwaZulu-Natal. Is there an understanding from the public in terms of the mission of Operation Dudula?
You know, the public seems split at this stage. You will see that there are those calling on the EFF to protect residents. I think I've seen on social media, on Twitter in particular, where people are making calls for the EFF to protect people who have been forced to present their ID documents or their passport documents in order to ascertain their status in the country. And there are also those who are for Operation Dudula, saying that, the laws of the country must be respected. Entering a country illegally is a crime, and therefore the law must take its course against people who enter the country illegally. But you would have heard from Kopanang Africa. They are strongly against Operation Dudula and their operations, saying that they're calling on the police to protect them against the movement and calling on them to stop protecting the leader, the Operation Dudula leader, saying that they need protection from being harassed by the organization. Also saying that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. You'll remember that it was joined by an amalgamation of civil society groupings, including the University of Johannesburg, also throwing its weight around that march against xenophobia. You will remember that they also blamed the emergence of such organizations, because Operation Dudula is not the only one. It seems as though there are other similar organizations that are mushrooming in and around South Africa, and the one that you would have learned about more recently was the Alexandra Dudula movement, which will also be here today. And they were saying that the reason for all these groupings mushrooming in communities is because of the dire economic situation that South Africa finds itself in. And they were also blaming it on the finance minister, saying that since the pandemic began, there's been somewhat of an austerity-like budget where huge departments or large departments like the education department and the health department have received budgetary cuts, saying that this then creates a situation where South Africans and all who live in South Africa are competing for resources, and also creates the impression that the healthcare system is collapsed and under threat of collapse. And also you might have also heard them also saying that this then leads to medical discrimination, and refuting allegations that it's migrants who are responsible for the collapse, or who are a burden on our healthcare system, the education system, and the likes, saying that had government invested in efficient services, these problems would not be getting such a spotlight as you've seen. You would have also heard them calling for the removal of, or the immediate resignation of Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi.
All right, no doubt. I know that you have reached out to Home Affairs Department as well. So if there are any developments in Nhlanhla, please come back to us and get your name immediately if there's anything that's taking place behind you. We appreciate you reporting, though. Nhlanhla Mthethwa live for us there in Johannesburg.